Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of The Magic Show. As of this week we've been on the net a full year and we're going to take a few moments to see just how far the show has come. But that's not all, of course. We will then detail a few happenings around the Magic community, including a little 2-mana green creature that may end up being one of the best creatures ever printed. In today's first segment, we're going to view a few past segments from old shows. Nothing too daunting, but I did want to give you a sense of where we were a year ago. A little more than a year or so ago, I was writing text articles like those you see anywhere else. I was also watching and heavily inspired by Zay Frank. Zay made a New Year's resolution to make a video blog show every weekday for a year. And from March 17th, 2006 to March 17th, 2007, the show with Zay Frank delivered. He engaged his audience, he worked his crowd, he made a little money and a lot of notoriety. I was in awe of not only his talent, but his format. Why couldn't this work on a Magic scale? So I started out with a few gameplay matches for the Battle Royale competition, a little budget deck building contest where I bested our own Craig Stevenson. Then I figured it was time to make the leap. From the known to the unknown, I made what was then called, quote, Battle Royale Round 7 Cheap, but was eventually renamed to the Magic Show number 1 with the title of Cheap. It wasn't until the second episode when I finally gave the show its name. And why the Magic Show? I know this is sad, but Zay's show was called The Show, and, well, you get it. It fit perfectly. The opening at first didn't quite work out as well. A little awkward. I also had this really horrible habit that took me months to quit. Let's take a listen. Hello everybody. Hello everybody. Hello everybody. Hello everybody and welcome to the Magic Show. Oh man, next time I do something that stupid, just hit me upside the head. I'm sure glad I quit that and apologize for those 2 seconds of pain that occurred until, I don't know, episode 25 or so. Anyway, after the first few shows, I got my first real reaction from episode number 3, entitled Culture Community Reaction. Our own Ken Crooner decided that not really enough people dislike him. So he replied to the article that he was glad Ted was let go from Wizards, after which point everybody jumped on him and digitally smacked him upside the head for his overtly negative comment. Ken, of course, has the right to his opinion, and I have the right to call him an ass. But where does that leave us? What makes a good community member? Was Ken right or wrong in his glee in Ted's departure? Would it or should it matter to the Magic players by and large? And does anyone really care about all this drama? This show elicited a comment from our own Randy Bueller. Now, it's a rare thing that WOTC posts on the forums, and I was absolutely thrilled. Someone was watching. Not only was I getting some tremendous feedback, 10 times the amount of most of my work, but here was somebody in the know. I had made it. Then it was time to do some high-level strategy and wow everybody with my prowess. So I went and did the most original thing I could think of. I talked about the art of war and how it applied to Magic. If you haven't caught on yet, that whole last bit was a joke. The problem for some writers is that they don't know what's come before them. This was a heavily written about subject on the dojo, apparently, and something I had completely missed out on. But after taking a drubbing on that, I then broke some new ground again. I did a live video from the Nashville Time Spiral pre-release. Let's take a look.
Slivers. The slivers that they have in this deck, plus the 2 returning, are just awesome. If they happen to pop in Sliver Queen again,
oh no! If they bring back a purple card, what's it called? Collision something victory. The old card.
Yeah. Coalition Victory?
Coalition victory.
It's in there.
how about the fact that you can get
the card that says whenever you have every color mana?
Yeah. Every color, every land.
Slivers are now overpowered with that one card.
That was exceptional fun, and while it was rough, again, the seeds of a solid, entertaining piece were inching closer. The following week, I did what could only be labeled as stupid. I decided to do a daily series. Now, dailies, if you've missed them, were short 800-word or so articles written by the same author every weekday for a week. But of course, I couldn't just spout another 800 words trying to get across some weird car analogy, but instead, a few videos to open me up to further ridicule. The first was one of my most popular videos to date, Building Dragonstorm. This was back when Ride of Flame was still new and untested, and the idea that Dragonstorm could work at all was still being questioned. But even in its admittedly rough form, featuring Urzatron and Truth or Tale of all things, it was damn scary. Scary enough to get over 11,000 views, at least. The week culminated in the first of my comedic experiments. What would happen if I just made fun of all those people who thought bad cards would be good?
Imagine it. You play this chick, pass the turn, get her back, morph her, attack, get either bursted, and then you have to pass the turn, play her, pass the turn again, and morph her again. Sweet Lord in heaven, that is slower than Disney's Dan Clegg on ice. Even given a Birds of Paradise to speed you along, one bounce spell staves off an attack until turn 5. By then she might just get bounced again. I know, man, this totally sucks.
The next few weeks I showed another innovation in the video realm, the idea of live edited coverage. I highlight the word edited because, well, watching a game in 5 minutes versus 30 is a hell of a time savings, and these were a lot of work as well. These were made for two reasons. One, I hadn't done these yet. There's a lot to be said for breaking ground. Secondly, I have never seen a Magic game edited the way that I wanted to watch it, which is to say, just show me the damn plays and get on with it. The next clip comes from episode 17, Vintage Voyeur, still one of my most popular shows.
Hi kids, I'm Vintage. I'm just like you, except older. Much older. No, older than that. Get your bra on tight and your panties in a bunch. It's gonna be a wild ride. Woohoo!
Old man Lotus. Always good for a chuckle. Next up we have a little bit from my Christmas special, the first time live music from yours truly ever entered the picture.
On the 12th day of Christmas, Star City sent to me 12 Urza lands, 11 Cap'n Tickles, 10 gifts ungiven, 9 tooth and nail, 8 and a half tail, 7 throws a breeding, 6 Jay a Ballard, 5 Sorens, 4 Thieving Magpie, 3 Goblin tokens, 2 Karoos, and a mana bird in a north tree. Yeah.
And what would a new year bring but another Magic set? In episode number 28, I stopped by the Planar Chaos pre-release and got some really interesting reactions.
You're not upset about moving cards in other colors?
No, I'm excited. It's cool. It's going to make it fun and neat. You're never going to know what's going to happen. You can't really expect anything yet. So it's going to be fun.
Gill Pack, I think, was the biggest one we've done.
And then Cold Snap. Was Cold Snap bad?
Cold Snap was Cold Snap. Yeah, it was cold.
And then when I turned them in, they were just so blown away by what I turned in, and they said, you weren't supposed to get the next 6, but now you will. So,
Nice. Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah, definitely my coup for the decade. I'm personally really proud of the work. I think as a body of work that I've turned into Wizards over the time since I got started, that's probably the set that I'm single happiest with.
Yeah.
I put so much effort into those. I really wanted to give it as much as I possibly could. I knew they were going to see print, and I'd see them at signings an awful lot for the next decade. And, I just really wanted to make sure I did as good a job as I possibly could with them.
Another milestone was set in episode number 30, which is bigger than you may have thought at the time. This was the episode in which I went to an episodic format, allowing me to cover a lot of subjects in just one show. This led to one of my favorite articles and subsequent moments in episode 33, Issues.
Incinerate's supposed to make Rada good. Head in her hand, man. There's a head in her hand. Yes, you see, while few would enjoy watching 50 minutes of card flipping while Flores is yammering in the background.
Great against Fireman Angels. It's awesome against Golgari Red Trolls. It's really, really good against
Billy just shed a tear.
I can't imagine a better card against Martyr of Sands in Standard. But the thing is, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Extirpates its prey.
Does Mr. Grizzly have first strike? Does he have trample and haste? Oh yeah. What's up, Mr. Grizzly? What you gonna do with all that trample? All that trample up in your protection from black and red? You gonna first strike it up?
However, on that note, one of my biggest misfires ever was the very next episode entitled Two Heads.
Yo, my fellow pimps. This is Kevin.
I don't really like that Evan guy, but it turns out that my head is stuck on it. Hey, I prefer to be called Head the Second, yo. You got anger issues, man. You're gonna need these creatures that you normally sideboard in, because you only get one shot with 2 HG, just like Rabbit and 8 Mile. Yeah, that was a good movie. I like that.
Let's just say Kevin will never be returning. Believe it or not, I still get some saying they really enjoyed this episode, and I appreciate that. But I think for the most part it was recognized as an episode that could have been a lot better. And I agree. In episode number 41, I covered my third pre-release, this time for Future Sight. This one included a few notable personalities, and let's take a look back at Jane Davis, the 85-year-old grandmother at her first tournament ever.
Somebody came in and said, I have a bunch of cards to sell. You know, do you have cards? And I said, no. And I started looking at them. And the very first one I saw grabbed my attention. And so I started dealing in cards. And the card's name was Eternal Witness.
Mm-hmm.
She's a green.
So Eternal Witness got you into Magic.
Got me into Magic in the biggest way possible.
Wow.
And now I play. I don't play well, but I'm learning. And this is my first tournament. Today was awesome. For the first time, I built my own deck.
Very nice.
And I won my first round on my own.
Very good.
Nobody standing behind me.
Nice.
You know, and it was kind of neat. And then I lost the second one, but I learned so much.
Ah, such a sweetheart. I was really excited to share such an interesting story with you guys. My next live show was a biggie and one of my favorites, episode number 45, Grand Prix Columbus. Here are some highlights.
Yeah, this is like ambush journalism, because I'm just watching you play Magic and just whip this thing out. It's like you've just exposed yourself to me in a playground. Just this thing comes out, whoop.
Or Rich Hohen with his loam deck and thinking, I know what this doesn't extend in. I have no idea in Legacy. I've only played 2 matchups, and that's all I was looking for. Fish decks or Hulk decks.
And you're not getting exactly...
So I'm looking at this thinking, well, I've got Meddling Mage. I've seen Life from Below. Yeah, okay, we'll name that. Another Meddling Mage. Well, I've counted his Engineered Explosives. I don't know what else is there. Well, just Engineered Explosives for the second. So at least I've seen those cards. But I feel real bad for Rich Hohen. That was a horror story of a game.
Oh my god.
It was, I mean, he got Leyline out when I had the combo. For some reason I'd left Echoing Truth on the board, so I'm looking at Leyline thinking I've got no way to get rid of it. I've got some random Meddling Mages. So just make Meddling Mage, make Carrion Feeder, make Body Snatcher, beat down. Oh, it wasn't pretty. It was not a game of Magic.
Round 5, I'm 4-0. I'm playing against Goblin. And I'm going off. Play flat, pretty hook and play. It's like, alright, well, play it out. Oh man, I don't know how to do this. So, with my Protean Hulk, I go get Karmic Guide and Carrion Feeder. Yeah. Bring back my Protean Hulk, sack it to Carrion Feeder, get Kiki Jiki, tap my Kiki Jiki, target my Karmic Guide, but in response, sacrifice the Karmic Guide to my Carrion Feeder. That's not the way it works at all.
Oh no! Moving on, I worked my way through regionals with a heartbreaking loss that would have put me in top 8, followed by 2 horrible matchups that knocked me out of any sort of contention. Then came this interview with Aaron Forsythe at magic.tcgplayer.com. Oh man, I just couldn't resist. Aaron is a great guy, I'm sure, but I think the word is intense. He looked extremely focused in his interview, and I couldn't wait to lampoon him. Luckily, Ben Blywis wrote an awesome piece called the FORSYTHE Awards, and what better idea than to mesh the two into one video?
2 words. Steam Flogger Boss. What happened?
Transformers.
2 words. Skull Clamp. What happened?
That's 1 word.
But it's 2 words stuck together.
It's just 1 word.
But it's 2 words!
It's just
2!
The Chinese translation of Tarmogoyf is bad motherfucker.
White. What happened? Blue. Who that up?
Well...
Green. What happened?
We ain't green, okay? We ain't green. We gave Teferi to blue because we hate it so much. I'm sorry.
So what is your job in Tell It Wizards?
I'm the boss of everybody.
Really? Of everybody?
Shut up, you're fired.
Yeah.
See? Be quiet, you're rehired. Don't ask stupid questions.
Yes, sir. The safe word is banana.
You are a scary monkey.
Making our way up to today's shows, I'll lastly feature Kimlish, that Alex Kim patented way of speaking that Zach Hill perfected.
Here are the key features of Kimlish. I want to explain it to you very quick. Number one, the end of everything you say must end in a question. Like, it seems like I'm pausing you for information, but in fact I'm making statements, but you don't know that because I'm inquiring every time I complete a sentence. So that must happen, and then like after you start, like if barring that, like if you aren't in interrogative mode, you're just gonna have this really, really long turn of phrase that when my voice gets a lot higher, and it's really hard for me to do because I'm not like 10 years old, but like it just goes out like this.
It's very hurtful, Zach. that was masterful.
Congratulations, Alex.
I'm hurt. No. He's hurt, dude.
Are you pledging allegiance?
What are you gonna do to fix this?
I am.
He is pledging allegiance.
He's pledging allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic.
Which leads us to today. A lot has changed in a year, including how I create shows and my weekly process. I no longer use Camtasia as my primary editing interface, and I'm learning more and more video-enhancing programs as I find time to do so. With the invitational win to top the year off, I can honestly say that creating the Magic Show was the smartest thing I've done in a long, long time. Thank you so much for watching and supporting. I do this because I love the game and its players. I want Magic to flourish, and I do my best to share my enthusiasm with all of you. So here's to another year, faithful viewers. May I have the strength, time, and will to keep doing them. I certainly feel like I'm on a roll now. Alright, so the Pro Tour is coming up, and anything that says extended in it is definitely catching my eye. But a funny thing happened to this Magic game we know and love. I'm sure it happened when Psychotog began dominating every format, but it's happening again. Tarmogoyf is everywhere. It's already jumped to $25 a pop, something I haven't seen since Arcbound Ravager was ruling the top tables and wearing a skull clamp to boot. Most extended decks, even Affinity for God's sake, is running for Mr. T. What does this mean? Is Tarmogoyf too good? Ha! It's just a creature. It's a 2-mana, piddly little creature. Well, okay, it's not piddly, but it's definitely a monster that can be smothered pretty easily. But the fact is this, it's a house that WOTC built and one that is going to be here for a long time. You know it's insanely good when you hear people say it's the best creature in Legacy. In Legacy, the home of some of the most powerful cards you can play with. So if you don't have them, get them soon. This guy is going to be in our mind's eye for years to come. Years. I'm serious when I say this. Every deck you play for the next 2 years better have a way of dealing with the big bad Goyf. Every single one. I'm curious if Tarmogoyf is really meant to be this good. And with the addition of Planeswalkers, you can bet your ass he's going to be more prevalent in the years to come. If you don't like him now, you sure as hell won't like him after Lorwyn. So the question for me becomes, whether to force Tarmogoyf in every extended deck I look at, or whether to main deck things like Smother because of its absurd prevalence. Only time will tell. Alright, I get it. The Planeswalker thing was a little much. We didn't know all the rules. I was crazy excited. It happens. So with that choice made, we want a multicolor creature. The question is this, should it be multicolored or hybrid? By multicolor, I mean no hybrid mana use at all, and by hybrid, I mean it can have at least one hybrid mana and regular mana in its cost as well. Please make your choice in the forums. After this decision, we can actually move into card mechanics next week. So Planeswalkers are here and well known. Go and read up on how they work, I'm not explaining it here. Instead, we feature another round of spoilers. Here are a few highlights from the most recent batch. Up first is Familiar's Trickery. Good lord, what a monster of a counterspell. This little baby just made every Mystic Snake player's day. This makes virtually every creature with a solid comes into play ability, such as Bogard and Hellkite, absolutely bonkers. This will be insane with Venser and will see a ton of play. While it may seem restrictive, it won't be long before this is in all sorts of aggro control decks. A first turn Birds of Paradise alone guarantees that this is a viable threat for the upcoming metagame. Next we have Widewin, the Biting Gale. As if blue-black end of your turn decks weren't annoying enough. This thing doesn't need to fairy for the bonus of throwing it down during your opponent's instep, or, if you have 6 mana, becoming the perfect chump blocker for something such as Troll Ascetic. Sure, it sounds expensive, but let's remember this is a blue-black control deck we're talking about. Plus, nobody's going to waste an Incinerate on this thing while you have a blue and black mana up. This is like the kick-ass version of Mori, a card that looked solid but ended up being horrible. Next we have Brian Stoutarm. Now that's what I'm talking about. Could this be a sort of poor man's Loxodon Hierarch? Or is this the birth of red-white mid-range control? This seems like a hell of a man to hold off an army such as one featuring Call of the Herd and combos with all sorts of fun cards like Fatal Frenzy. This is definitely one to watch and you can easily build decks around it. The loss of Lightning Helix still hasn't really set in yet, but this is a man that can make you think of red-white as more than just the Firemane Angel colors. Lastly, we're going to talk about Ponder. Man, every so often they keep trying to recreate Brainstorm. And while nothing beats the phrase draw 3 cards on a blue instant for 1 mana no matter what comes after it, this is definitely a contender for the strongest 1 mana card draw spell this side of Serum Visions, a card that saw plenty of play last year in Extended. I think we'll see Ponder in quite a few deck lists in the coming year. This week, Josh Silvestri wrote an amusing anecdote on the Michigan State upset by Appalachian State College. He said, quote, "To put this in a perspective for you card slingers that have no idea what college football is, this win was equivalent of Evan Irwin winning Pro Tour Valencia, playing a homebrew, while drunk, while singing the Cap'n Tickles theme song in the top 8. He then clarified by saying, quote, "There is a theme song, right? And if there isn't, there should be, since you have a show that you could probably articulate the sound to us." And that's exactly what I'm here to do. We're closing this week out with the Cap'n Tickles theme song set to the tune of Plastic Jesus. New verses are encouraged in the forums. So I'll leave it with you folks. Until next time, Magic players, this is Evan Irwin, tapping the cards so you don't have to. Whenever I need to kill 'em, Cap'n Tickles really seals 'em, swinging in the red zone for my team. Think he got him up and figured, then he rearranged your innards, swinging in the red zone for my team. Cap'n Tickles, Cap'n Tickles, swinging in the red zone for my team. Cap'n Tickles, Cap'n Tickles, looks so sweet but he's really mean. Just when you were feeling safe, Cap'n Tickles rapes your face, swinging in the red zone for my team. Bet you wish that you could answer the full drop causing disaster, swinging in the red zone for my team. Cap'n Tickles, Cap'n Tickles, swinging in the red zone for my team. Cap'n Tickles, Cap'n Tickles, looks so sweet but he's really mean.